How the heck are you? This is entirely stir-fry. Hope you guys are being excellent to each other out there, and I mean that. Today, we have another statue. This time it's by XM Studios. It's a 1/4 scale Magneto in his white costume from the Marvel Now relaunch. I think that happened like 6 or 10 or 12 years ago, I forget. But if you're reading current comics like myself, old Mags is back in his tidy whities. House of X #1, pretty cool book. You gotta wonder though, you know, all this globe trekking and fighting, is there any issues with meat streaks? Probably hard to keep clean, I would imagine. But a little context on that costume. You have to start here. Avengers versus X-Men. The universe. A lot of mysteries. And one of them is Earth is the only place for redheads. Because the Phoenix Force comes back to Earth yet again, like for the 50th time. It enters a character named Hope. She's a redhead. Doesn't work out. Splits off. Boom. Spreads itself into 5 members of the X-Men. Cyclops, White Queen, Magic, Colossus, and Namor. Oh yeah, all well-intentioned with all this great power, but of course they screw everything up. Namor flattens Wakanda. Cyclops accidentally kills Xavier. Accidentally. Scott would never do that on purpose, but everyone hates him for it. And Magneto hates him. He believes that Scott Summers set back the mutant agenda like 10 or 20 years. He's not happy with him. In fact, he's so obsessed with Xavier that he shaves his head bald. And he dons a white costume. I guess it would symbolize like innocence or rebirth or purity. Maybe that's just the wrong costume idea for him. You think about it, an old white guy shaves his head and he wears a bunch of white robes. Is that really the best look? You gotta wonder. You gotta wonder about that. Anyway, okay, here's the box. It's huge, it's enormous. The quality of the box has definitely changed. It's definitely gotten softer, it's cheaper material, still got the metal corners, everything's cool, but it just seems softer. My old school XM stuff had like very hard, sturdy case that you could like put a television on top of, or all your Star Trek plates, probably even like jack up a car, shove it under there and change your tire real quick. But it's a soft thing, I still think it's gonna do its job, it's fine. It also comes with this big book of directions. Smells good. I think there's 35 freaking pieces in this thing. It's crazy. I don't need this because I'm a man, so I don't follow directions. I just throw that down. Also comes with the print. A high quality print. Looks pretty good. I'm usually not a big fan of the XM Studios prints. I think they're kind of dark and oversaturated. This is okay. It's not bad. Let's open this thing up and see if I just blew a bunch of money for nothing. Magneto in his white costume next to the Blackest Night Batman pop. Here we go. XM Studios Magneto in his white costume. A giant silly piece that makes me really question collecting in general. It's just so big. So many pieces. 29 inches tall, 22 across, I think around 24 in depth depending on how you measure it, but it's just crazy. I had to skip the embossing because I just felt like it was just like a 3-week process, I'm pretty sure. So it took a long time to put together. It's very impressive and cool, and I really like that they took a chance on this costume. It's not anybody's favorite costume. A lot of people don't even know what it is. He does have a version of this in the new House of X comic, but for the most part, it's like an unknown costume. So I think it's a bold move on their part to put something out like this. And it's very big and crazy, and that's what initially drew me to this when I first saw some unpainted concept pictures of it. Pre-ordered this thing a long time ago, but it's awesome. I think it's great. He's tearing apart like an army. There's tank parts, barrels, the treads. What I really love, probably the star of the show, is definitely the back of it for me. I think it's so awesome. He's just taking these 2 big I-beams, like from a bridge or something. He's making a big X symbol, so you can see at the top where it's about to form like the circle. It's just great. There's 3 head sculpts. There's options for changing his position a little bit with his hands and arms. There's switch outs for that. So it's crazy. It wasn't cheap by any means. Not for me. I'm a working class proletariat. Whenever I buy a statue, it's for me, it's for my collection, and you know, I'll tell you if it sucks or not for sure. But anyway, let's get a little closer and check it out. Here we go. Here's the base. There's a lot of wreckage, and maybe it just looks like a bunch of nonsense, but there's like big chunks of cement everywhere. Jacked out wreckage. Hope you can see all that. I'm not sure what this random piece is here, though. Look at that. I mean, I'm surprised there's not a condom in there, too. I don't know what that is. Anyway, the back of the treads looking pretty cool. The tank here. What really bothers me, though, is this paint here, which to me looks like primer. It's just like, kind of seems unfinished. I don't know why. I guess it's camouflage to the barrel, but for whatever reason, it just bothers me. I don't like the green on this. Beautiful paint on these I-beams. Like, the way they did the rust is so cool. It's my line of work, so I see I-beams and bare metal, and the rivets, I think they do a great job. These are all it's just all pieces, man. It was a nightmare. This copper pipe down here, it's got some wear and tear on it. A huge base. Maybe not so wide. I think it's just like maybe like 12 inches, and the rest of it just kind of expands on top of it, making it look bigger than it actually is. But it's definitely a big footprint. It's crazy putting this thing together. It was not easy. Here's a look inside the base, down here. There's all kinds of goodies in here. I mean, you got like more beams and rebar supportive beams, cogs, and more rebar. The tread things are looking really good, and he's completely elevated. Like he's completely levitating. There's no giant peg. The peg is in his back. Really kind of hard to see, and it's got a good effect. Some pretty sleek moon boots. Look at these moon boots, man. Those are like some Hollywood set level Apollo 11 boots. Not bad. And here's the crotch portion. If you're into, feasting your peepers on the mutant leader's baby makers. There you go. That's what it looks like. There's a lot of creases around his baby maker. And then down here we got this nice sheen on the black, which looks good. Nice little texture here. It's kind of like a stretchy texture. I'm not really sure why they chose to put that there. I think they just did that because you need details. I don't really see the functionality there, but I guess if you're doing squats. In the chest portion here, we've got some more of that textured goodness. He's got this utility belt, which is new for Magneto, but I'm assuming we've got family photos in that one. And over here we've got coupons. He seems like a couponer. Over here, I'm sure he's got a con or two, because just in case he goes to the Savage Land or something. Back, he's probably got like a batarang. Let's look at the ribbing on the side, which looks pretty cool. He's got this neat little ribbing, kind of reminiscent of what Storm had as well. I like the detail on that. And the patches actually look really good. Just spin around. Pretty good paint in the X. Pouches looking good. Continue to look good. There's some more of this texturing that you gotta have. Over here is kind of like just a smooth section. We got some muscles. We got some more stretch material over here. Look at these guns. This guy's like 50 years old, 55 years old. He's in great shape. Must be keto. Here's the cape. I think it looks great. I think it's awesome. I love the flow of it. Man, I'm just a big fan of sculpted capes. I do not like fabric wired capes. I don't dig it. I think it's silly. It takes a lot of time to look good. Sometimes, like, Doctor Doom looks good, stuff like that's okay. Shading in there, it's simple, but it's cool. It's definitely like a fiberglass, it feels like a different material, but what are you gonna do? There's the back of the cape, which I think is awesome. Some subtle shading in there, which I think really works. I mean, it's a simple palette. We got whites, we got a little bit of black, a little bit of silver, but it's mainly like neutral tones, brown, stuff like that. They did a really good job making these things pop, giving like a little shading. They didn't put it on too heavy, and it's not too light. It really does its job. This cape is glorious, it flows awesome. And I never noticed this before in his costume, but he's got this hood back here. And I'm still thinking, like, Mags, is this really the best fashion choice? You just shaved your head, and now you're gonna wear a white robe and a hood? I don't know. I sent the wrong message. I love this X right here. Like these subtle like rust marks where it's just like deteriorating, the oxidation effects, like just a little bit of rust around these rivets. It's very well done. And it's not just the paint, it's actually, I don't know if that's, I guess it's a sculpt. Very believable. And you got this big screw here. You got to screw the whole thing together. If you want to get this piece, I would contact your dad if you have one, your grandpa. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Really awesome head sculpt. And this is probably the one I'll always pose it with. I just think it's really cool. I know it's not a super popular costume, but I love this, man. It's definitely got like a 300 kind of vibe, like a Spartan. I dig it. His teeth are awesome. They're just looking like true enamel or something like that. There's a slight hint of like transparency to them. It's really cool. His mouth is moist. It's realistically moist. It really just shows off the rage and the power effect. They did a really good job of separating these two whites as well, I think. Maybe it's kind of hard to see in this video, but he's got a white costume. Textured in some areas, smooth in others, like lines, elastic in some places, blah, blah, blah. But the helmet looks like it's a different material, which is what I wanted from the Sideshow one. I think they kind of did it. It's obviously not a metal, but it kind of has that vibe. This collar is more like a hood, but it kind of gives me that Guts vibe from the manga. Kind of has the same feel. I'm a little disappointed in this collar, though. There's like obviously two little buckles there that they didn't paint. They just like let it ride. They should have added something there to differentiate it from the actual cloak. Kind of, that bugs me. A little bit lazy. This part right here is cool. In the comics, they go all the way around. They're like these big circle things, which I think would be uncomfortable, especially on like a long car ride. Man, look at these guns. Look at these giant guns. Look at this. He's like 50 years old. He's running around sleeveless like he's 20. Gauntlets are looking nice. They're just these big, heavy metal gauntlets, like something Glenn Dads would wear. It looks pretty cool. And he's got this big old glove, big enough for a high five. High five. Psh, high five. Here's the second head sculpt. This is the creepy one. This is like the single white female, like stalker kind of look. This is like where he was obsessed with Xavier. He joined Scott Summers' team on the new Uncanny X-Men, written by Bendis, and he decided to shave his head and just creep the heck out of Summers. I guess he was trying to get in his head or something, or maybe he was just going through a phase. But it's definitely a creepy phase. He almost looks like Xavier, like that look of disappointment, like if I guess the battery died on his hover chair or something like that. Very good, even though I probably never use this. Definitely nice. There's like beady eyes. It's just got the stern look on his face. I don't think anybody would use this, but it goes along with the costume. It fits the story. It makes sense. Why not include it? Here's the unmasked Magneto head sculpt. Gotta have one of those with his silver fox hair flowing. You gotta have that, I guess. His little eyebrows, which I think it might be time for a trim. Look at that. The only thing I left out is the nose hairs, which is probably for the best. I think it's a really nice head sculpt. He looks like he's just plotting something. Like you just can't trust him. Now he's joined the X-Men several times throughout the days. Like back in the day, he had like the M suit, like the big old M on his chest. Xavier like left him in charge, kind of to help guide the X-Men when Xavier died the second or third time, whatever the heck it was. The eyes are awesome. The only thing that bugs me is if you turn it this way, just a little bit, right over here, he looks like he's got like a dip in his mouth, or maybe some Big Lead Chew or something. Over here, looks good. No problems. Over here, Big Lead Chew face. Okay, now to the switch outs. There's plenty of them. There's different options you have to kind of change up the pose a little bit, which is pretty cool. Initially, this is the one I wanted. When I saw concept pictures, I was kind of blown away by it, but now, honestly, it's the most disappointing part of the statue. But what sucks about it is these big balls here, which are basically just junk. But the photos showed like handgun parts, M16 parts, or maybe not M16, but like they look like AR-15s, but they're not. The military doesn't use that. They're still noticeably there, and I can see it, but they definitely dumbed it down. And I think it's maybe a licensing issue with Disney. Maybe that they came back and said, no, we want it to look more like crap than gun parts. But obviously he was taking out like some military aspect, or maybe like a unit of SWAT, like a SWAT unit or something like that. And he took all their guns. And initially it was awesome. There were like rounds in there, like brass rounds, which I don't think brass is really magnetic, but I guess the round itself is, so he would be able to capture that. They were peppered out throughout these things, initially in these early concept photos. And I thought it was so great looking. And now it's just, they just look like crap. If you have guns like me, or maybe you have Call of Duty on your PS4 or Xbox, you'll notice the Cog Sights. You'll see these things. There's barrels in there. There's some like long machine gun parts in there as well. Some magazines, some stocks. But the way it's painted, it's painted to resemble junk, just junk metal, and not guns. My head automatically goes to like the future of Disney and Marvel and X-Men and all this stuff. I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like Gambit won't smoke anymore. Wolverine won't get drunk. Or try to get drunk. There's no more fun anymore. It's just like Disney's just like this gigantic milquetoast corporation that wants to take all the fun out of everything. It sucks that they own all our nostalgic heroes. Like Magneto. And we take this rag here, this hanky, and you're supposed to put it over here by the cape so you can get this arm out without busting. Oh, without doing that, what I just did. Okay, here's the second switch out, probably the position, the pose that I'll keep. You take this little piece of metal out, plug in that. It's like a big metal band, and then we got this suspended missile, and it looks like he's kind of capturing. It's a pretty cool effect, and I think it works really well. And then I just took out the ball of crap and put this fist in there, which I think is pretty cool. It's got tons of veins, and it looks really good. It looks strong and powerful. The rocket is the way they go. I think it's a really cool effect. The illusion is pretty cool. I think right here it's obvious. Maybe it'll give you an idea of how far it sticks out. But you swing it around here. So if you're looking at it head on, I think it actually works. I think it has like a really cool effect. And it looks like he's actually stopping it midair, which is kind of neat. And I think this band is bendable, but I'm not gonna mess with it. I think it's about right. Eye to eye with Mags. It's a really cool look and it looks great. This is the pose I like. I like the guns, I like the clenched fists. It's unfortunate that other position didn't work out, like with those big balls of junk. Suck, what are you gonna do? But still a pretty cool statue. Pretty happy with it besides that. It was not cheap, and it really stinks that other option was not even something I would entertain. Before we get out of here, a little quick size comparison between the XM White Magneto and the Sideshow Magneto Maquette. I believe that came out last year. But these are two Magneto licensed quarter scale that you can get right now. I think 25 inches tall, this was 29. Both really cool. I didn't really think I was gonna be one of those people that had two Magneto statues. It just happened. What are you gonna do? And I'm okay. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. That's fine. Happy to have both. I'm pretty stoked. I mean, you could have bigger problems, right? I mean, come on. Have you been on the internet? It's a crazy place out there. This is not a big problem. This is fine. I can deal with this. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Remember, spay neuter your pets, and Magneto is right. We'll see you next time.